Run the tape. It's emotional, my guys. It's emotional. Like, I think maybe this is the World Cup where the guy would win. He didn't, because his team sucks. He was found in prison. He spent 18 years and they didn't even book him for anything. Of your gate at poop poop. Kang kang, guys come with guns.
Wash your eyes.
Le lavage prophétique.
In Jesus' name.
Rumor has it the guy is still washing his face. Because you know people say in Africa anything goes as long as you have a bit of money. You know what I'm saying? If you're a Kenyan and you don't respect the diaspora, you do know these guys are holding us. If it's not diaspora and tourism, I don't know how we're even paying our bills, you know? Check up on your parents because you never know. Wanaweza kuwa wanabebeshwa drugs. Unafikiri mzae akona side hustle. Side hustle ni kubeba drugs. Ooh. What's good? It's another awesome Furahi day, which means it's time for Run the Tape, and I'm excited to be here. So if you haven't subscribed already, this is the right juncture. Just hit the subscribe button right now. And if it's your first time here, by the way, I'm so excited to have you here. Why? Because you are about to enjoy this awesomeness that we call Run the Tape. Now, this is where all those stories that you probably missed, because let's be honest, who watches the news? Nobody, right? So all those stories that you missed in the news during the week because you were busy making money, we gathered them. And this is where you get to run the tape. All right. Story number one, I think we start from Ethiopia. By the way, our focus here is usually Africa, in case you have just joined and you're like, where are these stories from? They are usually from Africa because we're Africans and shout out to all the Africans in the diaspora as well. Big up yourself. We always say thank you for financing this continent. Yeah, I'll speak as a Kenyan. By the way, if you're a Kenyan and you don't respect the diaspora, you do know those guys are holding us. If it's not diaspora and tourism, I don't know how we're even paying our bills, you know? So anyway, we're happy to have you here. Now, today we're going to do things just a bit different. Today, I'm going to tell you stories and we're going to give each story and each character either a red card, an orange card, or a yellow card. All right? I think that's simple. Yellow for, they're getting off with a warning. Orange, it's for, okay, fast warning. And red is for, I think we'll just use the same rules for soccer or football. Guys, don't kula me, guys. Picture this. You've just cleared high school. You've just done your last paper and you've put your name there, index number. You've worked, I don't know, and hope for the best, right? And as soon as the invigilator says, put your pens down, exam is finished, guess what? The army comes knocking on your door. And by here, the army, we mean the defense forces. What have they come to do? They're coming to recruit you straight out of high school. You think it's a joke? Run the tape.
Help for youth in Tigray. They're being drafted and forced to go to war. While they go to school, they're being drafted and forced to go to a war that they don't want to be part of. So I beg you to copy link and repost this video and make the voices of Tigray youth and people be heard. And as you can see in the video here, mothers are crying out as their sons and daughters are being drafted forcefully from their homes and from their schools.
There you're seeing, allegedly, these are parents who in their neighborhood, allegedly, the Tigray Defense Forces, this is in Ethiopia, had come to recruit their children. And the parents were like, they started screaming, making noise so that they could leave. Now, if you don't know what's been happening in Ethiopia, the Ethiopian federal government has been beefing with the Tigray Defense Forces. That's the TPLF, right? That's the main political party in Tigray. This has been happening between 2020 and 2022. When these recruitments happened, allegedly, the TPF and the Gava had been beefing. And so TPF said, from today onwards, from today henceforth, recruitment in the army is compulsory. What does that mean? As soon as you finish high school and you're of age, you join the TPLF. So TP Defense Forces, Tigray Defense Forces. That's what's happening in Ethiopia. If you're about to say, in my country things are hectic, question is, would you join the army if it was compulsory among hepa? Anyway, for that story, I'm gonna give it an orange card. This is my thought. What is your thought? Hit me up with your score. Let's go to Nigeria. From east, we go to west. Nigeria, there's a story that just left me flabbergasted. Honestly, in Africa, is there any justice? Like, if cops arrest you, do you feel safe? Huh? Like, if cops stop you, whichever country you're in, if police officers stop you and they say, hey, come, we would like to talk to you, are you stopping or are you running? The reason I'm asking this is because what I saw, if in fact, the next time I'm in Nigeria, God forbid a cop stops me, I'm running. This story, it shivered me back. I was just like, okay, let me tell you the story. So, a 32-year-old man had been missing since he was 14 years of age. Last time his family saw him, boy was 14. The next time they see him, he's 32. What happened? Turns out, alleged, when this guy was 14, one day he left the house. You know the way you're just chopping laps in the neighborhood? Then he went to chapa laps kidogo kidogo. He never came back. Of course, the family got after him. They after him everywhere. So much so, in that process, the mom died because she died of just waiting. Where is this boy? The dad also died, right? Do you know where they found this guy? Do you know where they found this 32-year-old man now, 18 years later? There's some stories, if I tell you, you won't believe. You have to
Members of the
run the
Kinane
tape.
family prefer their location concealed for security reasons. Paul Kinane walks into his modest living room where children are glued to the television set. He weaves a long narrative of how his younger brother, Gospel, left home one night and never returned. The family claims the search for their son took them to police stations and the Nigerian Correctional Center in Port Harcourt to no avail.
That very fateful day, we were in the house between 8 to 9 o'clock, from 9 o'clock to 10 till morning. We don't see him. My mother could not go anywhere, nobody go anywhere. We were searching for him here and there. Even this prison yard, this collectional center, we go there almost 2 times.
Gospel's disappearance dealt his parents a fatal blow.
My mother be the first person to think and worry, saying different things, and died. Then my father also died on the spot of this thing. And we were just like that.
Fortune, however, smiled on Paul when a legal practitioner took him to the correctional center to see someone he thought could be his missing brother.
When I get there, I just come in. I saw my brother outside, where he was sitting down. If you look at him, it's like no human being again. He was there, started crying. He was normal, but get there, he become abnormal. I need justice.
The guy said, yeah, red card, immediately, red card. How? Okay, I don't know how good your pigeon is, but allegedly, this man, this 14-year-old boy, was chopping laps in the neighborhood, and then he disappeared. Do you know where they found him? In prison. He was found in prison. He spent 18 years, and they didn't even book him for anything. As they kept going to that prison, they're checking, they're like, yo, let's find out if he's in this prison. They go, do you know, let's imagine, John Kamau. They go look at, guys, John T. Sawa. John T. Kamau, you're there. They've searched. My guy, he's not there. Kumbe, he's been checked in a different name, but there's no OB. There was no case. There was nothing. He spent 18 years in prison. Aye. Red card. Imagine, by the time because he entered when he was 14, right? He's come out as he's 32. He can't even talk. He has mental health issues because God knows the things that happened to him while he was in prison. Hey, is there any justice in Africa? Because these are the things, let me tell you, impunity. Yeah, when we live in countries where anything goes, people say in Africa anything goes as long as you have a bit of money. You know what I'm saying? Justice is only for people who have money. Because the thinking here could be, how did this boy end up in prison? With no case, And he spent 32 years, and out of nowhere, he's being released. This is the theory. This is what people are speculating. That it could be that there was somebody who has money and had a case going on. And they don't want to spend the time in prison, but somebody must go into prison to serve the time. Who's going to go to prison? They just find a random person, right? Kidnap them, abduct them, and put them in. So according to the law, there's somebody in there serving the time. But it's not the person who was sentenced. There's somebody else, because poverty, right? Yeah. And they were working ndani to serve a time, my guy. Hey, baby, let me tell you, if this family doesn't receive justice, which they know they won't. See, we know they won't. See, we know that person has already paid and that story has already disappeared. Anyway, that is Nigeria. What are your thoughts on this? Me, I give it a strong red card, right? To the police, right? To the prisons that held a guy, and they know very goddamn well that and yeah, people are so evil in this world. Like, these are the things you read in a movie. Which movie is this? There's this movie, the series that's on Netflix, where this guy, it's called, I think, I'll Find You. The story is similar. This guy is being worked in prison, and they know very well his child is alive. Yeah. And even the warden who's taking care of him knows this guy is not guilty because his child is alive, but he's being paid to keep you inside prison. Hey, guys. Anyway, I told you this story because, this is Africa. And if you think things like this can happen, Karada, you can be abducted, locked up in prison to serve someone else's time. And nobody will even know where you are because you know why? There is no list. Hakuna jina yako hapa. You don't exist. Hey. Anyway, let's keep it there in Nigeria. Because Nigeria has been busy this week, Granted, this story is not for this week, but I saw this story because it's unfolding in Nigeria. I think it happened sometime in April or early June. I'm not quite sure. But this is what happened. Do you know where planes land? Yes, I know it's not a rhetorical question. I'm asking, do you know where planes land? Like, let's imagine a plane is in the air, right? Do you know where it should land? Because the pilot can't just be like, aki pilot nasikia kukojoa, shukisha. And then the pilot says, ebu tuangalie kama kuna place hapo ya kuland, and then they land. That's not what happens. No. Why? Because there's a specific place where planes should land, which is called the runway. But what happens if the pilot is over here talking to the command center and tell them I want to land, and then he says okay, and then he's cleared to land, and then they look down and realize he didn't land at the airport? The question would be, where the hell did he land? This is a true story in Nigeria. A pilot missed the runway and landed on the road. Run the tape.
This story about a private aircraft landing on a concrete road still under construction in Asaba Delta State is getting more dramatic by the hour. On Wednesday, the cable published an exclusive report claiming that the NCAA established the aircraft was registered in the United States in the name of Dunamis International Gospel Center in Abuja, a megachurch led by senior pastor Paul Eneche, and that the plane was operated under a non-commercial permit that may have been violated through an operatorship switch. However, Dunamis Church has swiftly and categorically denied ownership, issuing a statement declaring that Dunamis Church has no private jet or aircraft, and pointing to a recent public message from Pastor Eneche about being stranded in London on an Air France flight as evidence.
So, do we call this impunity? Because they are saying that the passengers who were in that plane were shuka, and they continued with their business. And now the question is, who the hell were these passengers? Why did this plane land? It missed the runway. And guys, is it possible that a pilot can miss JKIA and land on Mombasa Road? Okay, is it possible that a pilot can miss Wilson? Okay, Wilson, it's possible. I've seen, guys, I've seen. But have you seen the story of Wilson? Yeah, those buildings, they're supposed to be demolished. But our sharp government is like, wait. What if we move the airport? Yeah, that's a story for another day. Anywho, that happened in Nigeria. So the question is, what do you think happened? Me first, that story, I'm giving it a strong yellow card. Because there ain't no way a pilot missed the runway and landed on the highway. Aye? Yellow card. I'm not giving it a red card because I'm like, I don't know the details, but I'll give it a yellow card because it's like, wewe, usirudie your behavior. But allegedly, you could find, because you know, like if you watch mafia movies, right? Do mafias land at the airport? They land at random airstrips, right? Where there's minimal supervision. So you can just land. Let's imagine like in Kenya, right? I'm saying imagine because we don't know whether it's true, but allegedly JKA is where all the illegal gold of the DRC passes, right? Okay, let's imagine, right? You are a mafia and you want to land you want to take the illegal gold out of the country. You know, once it's landed in Dubai, it's clean, yeah? It's clean gold. But in transit, it's still dirty. Where are you going to use? So you just land in a random airstrip, somewhere where you're building a healthcare sector, a healthcare facility for Ebola guys. Yeah, I'm just giving, I'm giving hypothetical. I'm not saying that's what happened, right? Because how come we're no longer talking about the health facility in Nanyuki for Ebola? Anywho, yeah. That's what's happening, guys. Now that we're done with Nigeria, let's go to another country. Does your MP talk in parliament? I know you're asking me, how should you know, yeah? Because you're busy. It's not your job to be fuatiling whether the guy is talking. Okay. If your MP is from Kapseret, I'm here to tell you, the guy says nothing in parliament. Sudi amenyamaza. Oscar hajui kenye kinaendelea. Giza kamsudi huko backbench kwa parliament. Hakuna kitu wanasemanga parliament. You think it's a joke? Junette literally told us, run the
You
tape.
can use English, you can use Kiswahili, you can use sign language. Honorable Sudi can use sign language. If the other two have got limitations on those other two, Mr. Speaker, either English or Kiswahili. Or I can amend the standing order on his behalf so that we can get interpretation for mother tongues. Here, Mr. Speaker, he can come here. If the standing order will allow us, speak in his Kalenjin language, then another member who's learned like Professor Tuitok can interpret for him that the member is saying this and he's saying or Kamket is here, Mr. Speaker. Or Sosion, who's nominated, who has not much work to do. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, the matter is really.
I mean, he's even saying that the guy Anafa could translate you what's happening in parliament. My guys, you know why this story is funny? Because what's the one thing that you expect an MP's job is? Legislation. Sindio? Yeah, that's why it's called the legislature, right? And legislation is basically coming up with laws and discussing and, you know. So if the guy is quiet, how is he getting the job done? Anywho, I know you guys want to judge him so harshly. I can imagine, how could they? Woi, kapseret. But I'm just like, guys, the guy talks when it matters. Here he is in a church at a Harambe. Run the tape.
Jamaa wetu pia rafiki yetu ametuletea 30,000. Simama hapa. Commissioner huyu, mrembo mnamjua? Ametuletea shilingi 1,200. Mheshimiwa wetu Recho ametuletea shilingi 1,200. CNN mwenyewe ametuletea shilingi 1,150. Haya, wacha kutoroka wewe kuja hapa.
What I tell you, you just need to find the guy in the right forum. Mambo za parliament hadai. That's Oscar Sudi, in case you're wondering. In case you want to catch him talking, find him in the right setting. I'm giving him a yellow card to go away with a warning. But considering it's almost his last year in before we go to the election, he better do better. Next time I tell this story, he gets a strong red card with a note to take to his parent. Life can be difficult, you know? Life can be super difficult, right? And especially if you're a believer, sometimes, you know, you'll pray and you're even just like, God, I need to hear from you. I need to see you. Right? And sometimes it can be just, you know, moments of praying and, you know, and just quiet and silence. You can't really hear a response. But what if you could see God? Yeah. What if you could go to church and you're just chilling there and your pastor can hook you up and you can see God? Do you think I'm joking? Let's go to Nigeria because this apostle has the way to God's face. Run the tape.
You see, if I give you this water
and I wash your eyes, all you will see is the hosts of heaven. You see this water. You see, a few days ago I was praying there and I burst into tears. One of the angels said to me, he says, son of man, take the water, wash your eyes. And I washed my eyes. Immediately I washed my eyes, I begin to see everywhere clear angels. I say, this water, wash your eyes.
Le lavage prophétique
In Jesus' name.
l'eau de l'autel de la synagogue avec ce jeune
Look at
pasteur de Sud-Soudan pour l'ouverture
Look
des
at
yeux
that. Watch your
spirituels
screen.
et voir l'Éternel des armées et
You see what is happening?
des aïeux avec lui. Regardez sur vos écrans. L'Esprit de Dieu
Rumor has it the guy is still washing his face. He's trying to rub his eyes until he's. But these are real things, guys. Like when I tell you, going to church sometimes on a Sunday just sounds like it could be entertaining. That's exactly what I mean. Because how the hell is this a real thing? And the worst part is that there's a congregation that's sitting there enjoying this, which means they believe it. It's either they believe it or they love the entertainment. But I'm sure that they believe it. Because honestly, I have to tell you, guys, Nigerians love religion. Hey, especially churches. Hey. Watch out too. If Kagame was to be the president of Nigeria even for just 1 week, half the country would be unemployed. If you know, you know. For this pastor, I'm giving him a strong red card. Because what are these? What is this? And even for the congregation, red card. What is this? Hi? Guys. Honestly. Somebody is giving you tap water to wash your... The guy has even generated those backdrops for Drama Fest, where you're doing Sudi with the man of the people. I'm a Sudi, Kisima, Maji Kisiwani, or whatever it's called. Kisima. What's that show, Nini, called? Which set book did you do? Maji Kisimani. Huh? Kifo Kisimani. There we go. Kifo Kisimani. Right? The guy, the backdrops for set books. The guy has used it in the church. He's fetching water from there's probably a pipe behind there. Nobody's even asking, please, can we see what's up? Hi, red card. Do you love Jabba? Are you a guy for Jabba juice? Ama you a guy for hapana, imagine napenda tu hizo miti venye tuko ziko fresh Syngenta. Hey? I mean, that's one. Imagine, me, I just love it in a glass bottle. There's this guy, imagine, he's the plug, right? However you like your Jabba, I'm here to tell you, don't make a mistake. I repeat, don't make a mistake of traveling with the Jabba to Saudi Arabia. Listen, it could be labda ni bakshishi mebaki kwa mfuko. It could be maybe there's a small bottle like this one you have carried and you have forgotten it inside the bag. Why am I telling you this? Because as we're speaking right now, there's a bunch of beheadings going on in Saudi Arabia of Ethiopians. You know what their mistake was? Off with the head. Their kichwa inaenda. Why? Jabba. History here, Jabba. These beheadings are because these young Ethiopians carried Jabba to Saudi Arabia. And in Saudi Arabia, Jabba is a level 1 narcotic. This is where we say,
please stop scrolling because what I'm about to say is really important. Because hundreds of Ethiopian migrants, mainly refugees from Tigray, are currently being unjustly beheaded on death row in Saudi Arabia. Right now, 7 people have been beheaded and 200 more are awaiting the same execution. The official reasoning for these executions were that these people are carrying a stimulant called khat, which is a mild stimulant located throughout some parts of East Africa and Yemen. While nobody is denying that this is a crime under Saudi Arabia's law deserving of enforcement, at no point is it ever usual for a drug offense to justify mass beheadings and capital punishment. This is a very cruel and unusual punishment that is selected.
But let's be honest, there are some countries you should... Jabba is something that people enjoy here. Have fun with it. Kwanza this weekend where there was Afro Nation. Okay, not Afro Nation. Sabatides, there was the bag. There was the other one for millennials. Millennial cookout, right? Can you imagine the amount of Jabba juice that was flowing in that place, right? Coast Jabba flowing, right? boat, you just seeing guys there, you know, the eyes are popping, right? Yeah. So here in Kenya, we look at it like just a plant that we find like nyasi, right? But in other places, they look at this as deeply as they look at heroin, as they look at cocaine, as they look at the blue one, methamphetamine. Okay? So you're seated there just thinking, I'm sure you're even watching this nini, like shout out, there's a guy who told me Kwambox na jaba, run the tape na jaba. Imagine you jaba yako sahi kama ninge could transport like this, pam, you end up in Saudi Arabia. Right now, your head off with your head. This is a real story. So the reason I'm telling you about this, first, it must be very traumatic for the family of these young men who are going to be beheaded in Saudi Arabia. But this is a cautionary tale because I know here you can be found with leaves in your pocket and you've just landed, you're ready to clean someone's house. Lo and behold, before even your ego can kick in, we're out and yongelesha evil, off with your head. Why? Because they found jabba in your jacket. Remember this story. Before you leave Kenya, check your pockets because what we allow in this country, some other places, they don't play around with such narcotics. Here's my question. Do you think Saudi Arabia is being extra? It's their right and they are allowed to do what they want to do, right? For this story, it's so sensitive, I don't even know which card to give it, but yeah, for this one, I'll let you guys give the card. I can't see. I think I'll give it a white card. I don't have a white card, but considering the people that are about to lose their lives as we are speaking, I'm going to give this one a white card because peace. Yeah. Well, we are seated here thinking, you mean I can be transporting jabba without knowing? Yeah, and that could be a drug, right? You could end up like this shosho. By the way, am I the only one who's noticed that shoshos and gukas are being used to transport drugs internationally? You think it's a joke? It's true. So in Nigeria, there's this shosho who was busted. I think she's around 67. Here she is. She was found with, I think, 300 kgs or 300 grams of heroin, right? In Nigeria. Of course, you're 67. Who can get prison? Kulana, 20 years. It's you're 87. But if she's smart and she has money, she can pay so that some other 18-year-old can be worked instead of a 14-year-old. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, so this mother, she was patikana 67. This is the question I want to ask you. Where is a 67-year-old meeting drug dealers and then saying, okay, cool, I'll carry this bag? You know what's happening, guys? Life has become so difficult that these drug dealers are actually targeting the elderly. Why? Because they know. You see, there was a time, me who's traveled to Nigeria, I think over 40 times, right? Every time I'd fly to Nigeria, when I'd come back to Kenya, I'd be flagged. You'd be stopped by the immigration. Ebu come here, mama kando. They check your bags. It's like you've bought drugs, right? This would happen all the time when I travel from Nigeria. Anywhere else but Nigeria, it was hectic. And then you talk to the immigration guys, they'll be like, yeah, it's because you're a young girl, you're going to Nigeria, you can be used as a drug mule. That's what they're called. People who carry drugs across states or used to carry drugs from one place to another are called drug mule. Anywho, so there you are. You're just a young girl. You don't know that Nigerian guy or that person you went to meet across border, amekuwekea kakiru kwa bag. My guy, by the time you arrive in Kenya, you find you have 300 kgs of sijui what. You get? Okay, let's assume that they didn't know what was going on because innocent until proven guilty. I wasn't there. I don't know what happened. Higher. The immigration guys were so rad on young people. Paka, they are just like, we have to change our tactic. Who would they not be suspicious of? Some random 67-year-old mother who just looks like she's just come to see her grandchildren in Kenya. That's who they give the bag. Kidogo, they are busted. Because immigration has also become rad on these tours. This is not the first, second, or even 100th elderly person who's been busted carrying drugs from Kwanza America. What? Hey, here in this JKI airport, how many times? Countless. So, all I'm telling you, the reason I'm telling you this story is because I know the elderly are not watching this show. Check up on your parents because you never know. Wanaweza kuwa wanabebeshwa drugs. Unafikiri mzae akona side hustle. Side hustle ni kubeba drugs. For this story, I'm giving it a yellow card. Because I don't know if she was used. You know what I'm saying? I don't know whether she knew what she was carrying because a lot of the drug mules usually say that they didn't know. They were just told, carry this bag, ufikishe huko. Afu wanasema, okay, for $100, I'll do it. you remember drugs, so I'll give her a yellow card because maybe she didn't know what she was carrying or maybe she was used, right? But if this was her hustle, red card. Why? Because why are you giving us drugs, girl? And I know someone is saying, but imagine she's hustling. Yeah. You don't think about the people who take the drugs, right? Yeah. Hey, so grannies being used to transport drugs. It reminds me of those grannies I told you about. You remember the ones? Just imagine, hey, these shoshos nowadays, they don't want to rest. Now, us guys, when we become shoshos, what will happen? Because I've told you about the grannies who are hijacking carjackers. And then I've told you about this granny who's transporting drugs. Next week, I might have a story of a granny doing something even more crazier. So, yeah. But have I told you about the grannies of Japan? Hiyo ni ya next week pia. Now I'm here next week. The World Cup is going on. Hey, and you remember a few weeks here I said the US treats this World Cup like it's not, it's like we just came to play in their town. They don't care for the rules. They don't care what us guys care about. Okay, now that I've finished venting, did you see what happened with the US team and FIFA and Trump? Have you heard of the Trump card? I don't have it here. I only have the yellow, red, and orange. But so America played. There was a red card that was supposed to be given, but Donald Trump, the president of the United States of America, he picked up the phone. Yo, what do you mean you're giving my boy a red card? Well, what you mean? That guy has just guzad the guy kidogo, then you give him a red card. So who's supposed to play in that Belgium game? My guy, wacha kutuharibia team, my guy. Wait, reverse your red card ama tukudeport. Unajua kwanza ice baby wako kwa mlango yako. Infantino alisema, cheki, I'm just a young child. Infantino will reverse the red card. Don't deport us. I think Trump was just like, cheki, me, I'll funga that World Cup. You guys, you can't remove us you can't give my guy a red card. I'll funga that World Cup. Infantino is like, okay, you know what? Actually, I've checked the thing. It's not really a red card. That guy he was kanyagwad the socks. He just made the socks dirty. And the guy was, red card was
I didn't know
reversed.
what the hell a red card was. When I found out, I said, you got to be kidding. This guy just hands up, okay, your best player is not going to play next week or in the next game. I said, wow, that's a lot of power. That's terrible. I understand sports really well. And that wasn't a foul. That wasn't even an infraction. That was two guys running full speed that happened to crash into each other. You can't take your foot.
What kind of precedents are we setting in this world? In football, in American soccer, right? The whole world was so annoyed. Well, except Americans. Well, they even Americans, they were not happy with this story for the red card. It's so ridiculous. Anywho, they played Belgium, and thank God they were kicked out with that orange card or red card or whatever card. For that story, I give it a solid red card because America deserved that red card. But shout out to Belgium for doing the right thing. Anywho, so while that was happening, also this World Cup, we've had to say goodbye to the end of careers. There are some people who will never see playing again in the international arena for their nation, right? I don't know whether that matters, but it matters for a lot of people. Like, for example, did you see the amount of tears guys cried for Ronaldo? Even Ronaldo himself ran the tape. It's emotional, my guys. It's emotional. Like, I think maybe this is the World Cup where the guy would win, He didn't because his team sucks. Unfortunately, it's called the World Cup. It's not called the Forever Stay Here Cup. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. So anyway, they're out. And that's the end of Ronaldo. Like, the man is what? 41? Give the guy 42. Get the guy a break, my guy. Unataka acheze mpaka kwa 82. Kwani hakuna player mwingine anatoka Portugal, youngins. Ama this is the place where Gen Z don't say, imagine it's time for us. Right? Anywho, yeah, that's the end of Ronaldo's career. Although we love the guy. You know, me, I'm a Man U babe. The guy played in our team. Then he went, he did whatever he did after that. I didn't follow. Now he's in, I think, Saudi Arabia. He's in Saudi Arabia, right? But for sure he does in Kulaja about there. Yeah. Another story from the World Cup. Neymar, amecheza. And then that's the end of his career. And they were twangwad. So Neymar's career internationally is done as well. It's sad. Because these are, let's take a look back at some of Neymar's most memorable World Cup. Wait, guys, do you remember that World Cup where they were in Brazil? Where Germany twangad them 8-0. In their own home. That was painful, right? Anyway, but that's come to an end. And now it's time for the new generation of football players. Hopefully, now that Ronaldo and Neymar are out, it's time for Kenya. But how amazing are African teams? It was so exciting. Well, okay, first I have to give you some drama, right? Do you know how difficult it is for an African team to show up for a sports tournament? No. Let me paint a picture before we make fun of some people. So, first things first, you have to apply for the visa. And if it's a European or American country, the visa rates for African countries, denial is above 50%. 50% of the applications, they go down the drain. I'm not the one who's saying this. Let's look at, here's a snapshot of visa applications for Canada for 2025. No, for the World Cup, right? As you can see, 96% of Kenyan applications were denied. 96 of this World Cup. Anyway, just donating money to other countries. And guys think that Africa doesn't have money. Anyway, so first you have applied, right, for the visa for your team to show up, right? That's if they'll be given, right? They have to keep going to show their face. The visa process is hectic. And considering it's America, unajua mulinyamba kabla mulienda kupatiwa visa, right? Haya. On top of that, some of your team might not make it. Did you hear what which team was this? Iran, right? The Iranian player was saying, what about his team? By the time they're playing their third game in Mexico, some of their technical bench, the managers, visa yao haiko approved, and they're on the third game of the World Cup. How? Right? That time European countries, bro, they've entered, they've even engaged Hamptons, they're even having bash with Drake, right? Well, Africans, they have not even started the journey. On top of that, you get on the plane, right? Now you've gotten your visa. Will your government provide the necessary finances for you to enjoy the tournament? Ask Senegal. After they've done fantastically, kind of, right? And they're kicked out of the tournament, those guys were still in the States 3 days later. Why? Their tickets hadn't been bought. The hotel where they were at, they arrived, they already like, this hotel is chini. How do you expect the mental capacity? While the European has just woken up, they're like, a bit of yoga, then they show up at the stadium in fancy outfits, like we're not even in the same challenge. We're not having the same equal challenges, right? Anywho, so Senegal, waliaibishwa, they stayed there as they were waiting for their country to buy for them tickets to leave the country, right? Let's be honest, if they were in South Africa, would their government airlift them? They'd tell them, no, to me a bus fare, walk. While that was happening, Cape Verde stole our hearts. Cabo Verde. From the goalkeeper to the team. I mean, they played fantastically against Argentina. In fact, for a split second, they were just like, ooh, Messi, Ronaldo, and Neymar retiring on the same day or the same week. But anyway, that didn't happen. What happened, though, was the Cape Verde team got home right after the game and they arrived to a hero's welcome. The whole country, because they're just 500,000. That's Kibra. Yeah. 500,000. The whole nation is 500,000 people. Kibra is bigger than Cabo Verde. Anyway, they all showed up to welcome their team, and my goodness, guys, it's one of those moments that you have to see it to believe it, to enjoy the feeling. This is where we say, run the tape. You know, football brings people together, right? It brings people from all walks of life together to celebrate this awesome thing, right? So for this one, I'll give them a solid, I don't know if I feel like I need a blue card here because they did so good. They did so good. Cindy, all right. You know who needs a red card? I'm even starting the story with red. There's a senator from Paraguay. You know, France played Paraguay, right? And after Mbappe did the thing, sent Paraguay home, a senator from Paraguay decided to put some racist comments online. This is what she had to say.
Que cuando Orlando Gil, un niño que seguramente por primera vez pisaba un mundial, seguramente por primera vez Europa, estaba jugando ante el mundo y le pasa la mano con toda la humildad del paraguayo, y este hijo de p*** le niega la mano y le grita en la cara. Eso no es francés. Eso no hubiera hecho un francés nunca.
¿Pero qué carajo sabe de mí, Mbappé? Pero ni sabe.
This is horrible.
¿Sabe dónde está Paraguay? También está buscando en el mapa. Claro que fui agraviada. Y con suficiente motivo como para hacerle una querella a Mbappé. Ahora, a la FF le digo, que se contrate un abogado.
She basically is saying that Mbappe is trying so hard to be French. Yeah. And she went on and on just ranting about Mbappe. Mbappe, of course, came back and clapped back and told her, you know, she's so ridiculous. Like, for lack of a better term, she's a ridiculous woman. But this is what I'd say. In a place where people are enjoying and bringing good times together, you're a sore loser. Honestly. Because if your team won, would you be saying all these things? But because your team lost. Aye. Anywho, I guess politicians are the same all over the world. Because I know that there are some Paraguayans who are sitting there just going like. So for that, the mother deserves a red card. And when it comes to things you don't understand, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. You know? Because now you can imagine, guys can't even remember the Paraguayan players. All they remember is this babe. This babe. Na ama Senator Madem saa zingine kuanga na ufala. Sababu kuna Senator Madem mwingine hapa Nairobi pia alikuwa na ufala. But anyway, let me not get into that story because we want her to come on the show so she can tell us about those maufalas she was doing there. Anywho. So, last weekend was a weekend of amazing concerts. In fact, now we're asking ourselves this weekend, what are people going to do? Because how can you just put all the bashes in one weekend? All right. So here in Kenya, there was, let's start in Portugal. Portugal, there was Afro Nation. And of course, the big heavyweights, we know that Bien performed. That's it. I'm talking about Kenya. Okay, Burna Boy performed. I saw as well, I think Awilo Longomba was on that stage for a bit. And lots of Kenyans went and they enjoyed themselves. And big shout out to Kenyans who can afford to fly out of the country, check into a bash in Europe, right? And have a good time, right? Yeah. In this heat. Maybe the European heat is not playing this time. But yeah, big shout out to these Kenyans who can afford to just, take their money, get on a plane, go and see a bash. Ati, where is Nani performing? In Mars. We're going. Ati what? Beyonce is performing in Fiji. We are getting the flight. Bonfire wajafanya you know, the rest of us we just hear watu wako wapi Portugal. Guy, wanaenda kufanya nini? They are going for. You do know there was a time people used to chant. The whole village would come to the airport. Why? Because there's this one person, he's leaving the country. You didn't go for bashes. You went for education or healthcare. It's a wonderful time to be alive. Anyway, so Afro Nation happened, and I saw BN with his whole dancing crew. Man, and things have changed. These guys who are here in Kenya, they've even traveled. It's beautiful to see. Anyway, they showed up. Here in Kenya, there was summer tides happening at the coast. At the same time, there was the bag. Yeah? It was crazy from Sudi Thursday, Friday, Saturday. One of them kuna siku waliumia because I saw Saturday the bag ilikuwa imejaa, Saturday nini ilikuwa empty. But that's not the point. What I want to talk about is what were coast. Nyinyi kama si tarab, you don't show up for concerts? What is this kiubaguzi that's usually there? Because Summer Tides, which is a huge concert, and even the bag, you'd expect that Coastarians are the ones wangekuwa wamejaza hiyo concert. Sindio? Wao watu walikuwa wanaangalia. In fact, even I was watching 2 radio presenters for one of those local radio stations in Mombasa. Walikuwa wanasema kwamba Mombasa people ni washamba. Si mimi nimesema run the tape.
Kumekuja kauli moja wanasema kwamba sisi wa pwani ni washamba kwa sababu watu wa pwani wengi hawakujitokeza kule. Wengi ambao walikuwa kule ni watu kutoka Nairobi, hayo maeneo mengine, lakini wa pwani wengi hawakujitokeza. Sasa kuna kauli kwa nje yasema kwamba sisi ni washamba.
Mtu aseme kwa mtazamo wake, ushanielewa? Kwa sababu stare yako huwezi kunilazimisha mimi pia nitumie stare yako. Ushanielewa? Kwa sababu kila mtu ana feeling yake. Alafu huku sisi hii weekend wanazungumzia weekend ya kutokana na tamasha zima. Okay, hichi ni kipindi ambacho watoto wanaenda shule.
Apparently guys are so shady they don't even know what's going on. Guys, of course, I'm not the one who said. Hit us up in the comment section. Why don't you show up for these concerts? Sijui the bag, sijui nini. And then there's a story for Ati guys, for course, don't like hanging out with guys for Nairobi. Because even when these concerts happen, generally, we don't usually see guys for coast. Let me give you an example. Do you remember when Chris Brown came to Kenya? And then they chose Mombasa. Why? We don't know. But the whole concert was full of Nairobians. Kwani watu wa coast hamsikizi Chris Brown ibana? Beyonce akikuja nyinyi anasema kizungu mingi huko. Anyway, what I found interesting was guys from Malindi and Watamu calling out attendees at this concert and saying that they are dressed like prostitutes, that they are immoral. Guys from Malindi and Watamu, you know what, run the tape.
Zunguni kuyaleta hapa. Na mwanzilishi wa jambo hili naloitwa Summer Tides, tunakwambia ya kwamba mambo hayo koto uliko yachukua yawe ni mwisho katika mji wa hapa Malindi. Sisi kama maskofu tunakataa kitendo hili. Hali hapa kwa beach inayoitwa Lost Beach,
kulani vitendo vya ukahaba, vitendo vya usodoma ambavyo siku hizi 2-3 vilionekana wazi. Hata makahaba wanajificha kwa vyumba, lakini naambiwa hapa watu wanatembea uchi kabisa.
Yani watu wakitoka Summer Tides kama hawana visonono sugu, hawana UTI sugu, hawana ukedi, hawana ngwekwe, mnite mbwa. Sio hizo video zinazo trend. Yani nakwambia wasichana wameamua kujiachilia peupe mwa. Kuna msana nakwambia you are dance matako wazi, tako linja tatu, yuaruka kwa mwanamume huyu, akiruka kwa mwanamume huyu. Wenye lote liko wazi ndara.
I'm giving this pastor red card. You kwani which Watamu and Malindi do you live in? Malindi huko pali yani watoto sijui mtu wako 9 years asha uzo kwa mzungu, sijai kuona ukikama out kusema hii usherati ishe. Wazungu solo wanakuja wanajitandaza huko kwa bichi. Wako na watoto wadogo left, right and center, wanaume, wanawake, vijana kwa I don't hear you talking about this shit, right? When girls are being taken by their own parents, pimped by their own parents to white people in the coast. Or when you go to the coast, you see young women in the bars, in the restaurants, in the hotels, right? selling themselves to white people. That part, that kind of usharati you don't have a problem with. But the one that is imported from Nairobi, that's the one you draw. Wait, watch. Why do you want to supervise people who are above the age of 18? While not taking care of the people who are under the age of 18. Let's stay focused. You want to call it usharati? We call it mind your goddamn business. Maisha ni ya nani? Sini huyo mtu mwenye amekuja. That one red card. Another one. Red card. Let people have fun. If you're a Kenyan and you're not a resident of Olkalau, and you're broke, ni kama hujui pali pesa iko. Right now, if you're in sijui which other county, you're wasting your time. The only place to be is in Olkalau. Here is the PS distributing gas cylinders for every household in Olkalau. Remember, this is all about elections. Run the tape.
Hizi vitu zote zinapelekwa huko Olkalau. Na kama sio hii by election, hawangewahi ziona. Hizi poles za stima, hizi matransformer na matank. Hizi tank kwanza zimetoka Mbere North. Zilikuwa zimeenda kufanya kampeni huko bado. Zimeletwa sasa Olkalau. Na kama sio hii, hawangewahi ziona. So by the end of this by election, kila mtu Olkalau atakuwa na stima na maji. Hakuna mtu atakosa hizo vitu. Watu wa neighboring constituencies wamekuja ukamp huko kwa sababu pesa ni mingi. Na whenever there is a by election hapa Mlimani, government ina making sure haitakosa hiyo kiti. Na inatumianga pesa mingi sana. Inatumianga a lot of money kwa ground. Ndio make sure ime retain hiyo seat. Hakunanga kitu ingine. Sijui ni nini wanapiganianga hapa Mlimani. Lakini kwa ground watu wanasema kula kwa Ruto lakini kura kwa
Kama unajua ulikuwa umelipa na
katika Kenya mamilioni ya watu hawana hii gas cylinders kwa manyumba yao. Wanatumia makaa, wanatumia kuni, wanatumia kerosene, paka moshi imekuwa shida kwa nyumba, uchafu imekuwa shida kwa nyumba, chakula hivi haraka. Sasa serikali ya rais wetu William Samoei Ruto,
Energy PS anaitwa Alex Washira. There he is with former CS Moses Kuria, and they're distributing gas cylinders, one for every household in Olkalau. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Rigiji could not be left behind. My guy had already told us a week before, ati guys in Olkalau were being given, they were being asked for their ID. You give your ID, then you're given the gas cylinder. Now, why would their IDs be taken? Why would someone want your ID just a year to an election? Allegedly, he's saying that this is because elections and trying voter bribery, right? This is according to Rigiji.
Wacha kwanza tunyoroshe pale Olkalau. Pale amemwaga pesa. Hata hakuna change. Ukitaka chai ni 1000. Ali utashibia uende. Pombe ukilipa 1000. Ukitaka maandazi 1000. Amelete mpaka gari ya moshi. Jana amelete meli. Pale kila barabara nawekwa maramu. Pale pesa inapeanwa kila mtu 10,000. Sasa tunauliza Wakenya wengine, kwani hii Ruto anabeba nyinyi ufara namna gani? Wewe bwana Havi.
According to the MP of that area, David Gikaria, this is what he had to say. He said the reason why they were being asked for their IDs was to confirm if they were voters. To confirm if they were voters. Muchezo wa tauni. Yeah? Here's my question. Is there any other county where guys have been given gas? Number 2. Is this a Gava thing? Why would the energy PS be involved in voter? This don't make any sense. I'm just saying. And also, if it's checking, see, then you check the whole country. Yeah? Mi nangoja gas yangu. Mi nangoja cylinder yangu pia. See, I've seen they're called gas yetu. Mi nangoja yangu pia. Yeah? My cylinder, I'm also waiting for it. I need to confirm if I'm also a voter. Hey, guys. Hey. This one, I'm just going to call it what it is. Red card. Mchezo wa tauni tunazijua. By the way, okay, every waking moment that Rigiji is alive, right? Whether he's awake like this or he's sleeping. Ruto. President Ruto. Soipan to ya. This story in Bambad me, I have to tell you the story. So, Rigiji was doing what he does best. He was addressing people on a podium. And then he was talking about this story for, do you remember when the president was so mad at Rigiji mpaka he stood on top of a vehicle and then said this, ran the tape.
Huyo mtu ni kumbafu sana. Na nitamunyorosha. Kwanza amenijaribu atajua hajui. Alale. Atajua hajui. Biga hoye. Biga hoye. Nyinyi mnataka mtu atuletee ukabila Kenya hii? Wewe mtu pepo chafu ya ukabila. Wewe hauna nafasi katika Kenya hii. Ama mnasemaje watu wa Vihiga? Si tumeungana? Si tumeshirikiana? Watu wa kutoka Coast, watu wa Northeastern, watu wa Central Kenya, watu wa Rift Valley, Western hii, Nyanza, Eastern. Sisi ni ndugu moja, tusikubali wajinga watu wa kuletea sisi ukabila.
Yeah. There he's unearthed the story of Rigiji's brother's inheritance. Is like, yo, you did this, you did that, yada, yada, yada. So Rigiji saying that day, when that story chomokad, who did he reach out to? Not Rachel Ruto. Soipan Tuya. Yeah. To tell the president, umekanyaga pali pabaya. And then he also says that he told her, you need to watch this story you need to go and look at how my brother did his division of his property that everybody was catered for. You know what? I'd rather just let Rigiji tell the story.
Soipan message. Siku Kasongo alikuwa anaingilia mambo ya ndugu yangu. Kamwambia huyu Kasongo anaingilia ndugu yangu. Ndugu yangu alikuwa na familia complicated kidogo. Kuwa na wake wengi na wengine huko nje watoto wengi. Akaandika will mzuri, akaangalia kila mtu. Sasa Kasongo alikuwa anapiga kelele mambo ya hiyo will. Sasa nikamwambia Soipan, mwandikia message mwambie Kasongo ukimuona. Sababu labda atakusikiza. Hii will ya ndugu yangu asiipige. Vile mimi namjua na kumuelewa, inaweza kumsaidia mbele. Mbele. Naambia mimi nimekuambia kama mzee na unajua vile mimi nakuambia.
Guys, I don't want to get too deep into this story because me, I like being not abducted, right? But hey, if you just listen to these stories in black and white, you might miss it, right? Ni hayo tu. If you know, you know. Did you see the video of the goons?
In the CCTV, the robbers arrive at 10:34 p.m. using 2 motorbikes. Customers chatting the night away. Panic. Some run away the moment one of the robbers cocks his pistol and goes for the table on the right, where 6 customers are seated. Another robber armed with a pistol goes for the table on the left side. They then move from one table to the other, stealing phones and a laptop. On their way out, the robber in a white jacket is seen shooting inside the restaurant. A security guard is captured trying to stop one of the robbers, who shoots down to scare him.
Me, I don't even know how you guys are surviving out here in this Nairobi, in this Kenya. Hi. Me, even if someone walks next to me, hey, excuse me, I'm running. I don't trust nobody. I'm not playing. Hey, guys, where we are right now, I feel like I need to tell Gen Z. You know, Gen Z, you guys, you haven't experienced. Let me tell you, Moi's time, when Moi was the president, guy, the kind of daggings that were going on in this nation, from carjackings were a thing for every day. You know the way that you just stop in front of your gate at poop poop. Kang, guys come with guns. Chuk. It was common. Kwanza places sijui Ngatarungai, hey? because it used to be called Ongatarongai before they called it. I mean, those are two different places. I don't know, yo. So Ongatarongai, those sides Ngong, right? Even here Kilimani, it was common. Somebody has stopped their car in front of the nini. Hey, right? You're in Tao, you're just driving at your windows down. Gas chomwad shell, hot piping. You don't know what shell is? Mavi, right? Someone has carried hot Mavi piping. You're probably wondering hot from where? From their DMs. You think it's a joke? Run the tape.
Weka hapo ndani wewe. Ndio ingia anatoa shonde. Ametoa mavi. Sika kabisa.
Yo, shout the season, man.
You see this guy? Yeah, he was going to rob. But the moment he was shikwad, what did he do? He picked a hot one. That was common. It was so common during Moi's time. We never used to roll with our windows down. We never used to talk to strangers, right? I don't know about you guys, but us, we don't mess with strangers, okay? Yeah, because yeah, you didn't carry your phone. There was a time you never used to see people talking with their phone like this. I think the past maybe 2-3 years, things have become bad. But before that, people were walking around. Phone tagging wasn't a thing, Sindio. But there was a time you couldn't even, you are walking in town with your handbag like this. Why? People used to tuck their handbags like this. Wee! Mtu anakuja na wembe shwa, anaifungua. I don't know if these things are still happening in Tao because I haven't been to Tao in a while. But like, yeah, they used to just come with a reza kiwembe and akata bag yako vitu, all the products of the bag are out. It was a crazy time. Yeah, we're back in those times. This Gava has taken us back to Gunland. But this is my question, right? Guys, do you remember when Murkomen was telling us they are goons? Run the tape.
Ilianza jana. Au goons wamekuwa, kulikuwa na wengine watu Angola, Msumbiji, mwingine wanaitwa nini, wanaitwa all that kind of thing. The problem we have with goons is not the people. It's not the young people. Shida ya goons sio wat vijana wana kazi, sijui ni nini. It is errant or wayward political leaders ambao they go deliberately recruit na kuchukua goons kutumia for because they don't have alternative.
There he is, he said it. Apparently they're goons, right? Which we also already knew, right? But here's my question. What are you doing about it? We're in a mucky time where goons are walking into a restaurant with guns and telling everybody to Buenos Dias. Huh? Where are Murko's men? Huh? Where are Murko's men? Murkomen. Hamekaa kwa podium akituambia that he's going to spend the day and night following Rigiji. Guys, I'm not even playing. This is your CS. This is what you have to say on the tape.
Yeye sasa ni kama tinga. Wewe ni tinga wapi? Tinga akiwa karibu 8 years alikuwa kwa barabara mbele na tia gas. Wewe hujawahi hata toka kwa nyumba yako, unaenda kujificha njiri ya kitanda na unaambia Mama Dorcas angalia nje kama kuna mtu ametoka. Wewe ni mwanaume ya wapi? Atalala cell. Hiyo violence anajaribu kujaribu. Hii uchaguzi atakuja. Huyo mtu wacha ajaribu, atalala cell. Hata piga kura. Let him try.
Well, as we're waiting for Murko's men to come save us when these thugs are robbing restaurants, popping in Sudi shell in the Tao, right? Murko's men have been put on Rigiji. This is according to Murkomen. So now, who will take care of the rest of Kenyans? Guys, we need vigilante. Unakumbuka last week nikiwaambia juu ya the vigilante. I think that's where we need to be at because clearly we are on our own, right? Every time we see protesters, for example, like remember not this protest here, Sabasaba, the other one, right? Do you remember where first we were told that they are goons, right? And then it just became a story. You're seeing goons and cops hanging together. Now, if Murko's men are seen in the same frame with the goons, can we tell what the difference? We can't, right? We start to now say, are you guys working together? Hey. So anywho, in case you're wondering what is occupying our CS's mind when there's a high crime rate like this, it is Rigiji. Rigiji has occupied his mind. So why am I telling you this? For the rest of us, let's take care of ourselves. But the ladies, this one is for you. If he says he's broke, if he says he doesn't have the money, imagine, don't be mad at him. You guys are doing everything to hustle in this city. Everything possible. Like, you know, the Nakuru show was happening. And this video just made me smile because there was a mermaid that was, or should I say a merman that was spotted in Nakuru. You imagine this is someone's pillar of strength, my guy. Then you're trying to record him and he's there living his best life as a mermaid. I think for me, what was shocking is that these things are still at the show. Like, Kwani kids, you're still showing the things you are showing Gen X toys, you're showing Gen Alpha. Gen Alpha kids are sharp. They know what a mermaid looks like, my guy. This one you can only get away with if, in fact, this looks like a TBT. This looks like a TBT for Sudi 1991. Anywho, let a guy hustle. Imagine that guy that is hustling like that and then he comes to give you money for going to the salon, then you disrespect him. Let's just respect everyone's hustle and money. But while mamans were showing up in Kenya, in DRC, a whole whale showed up on the beach. Guys, do you know how big a whale is? Ebu, take a look at this. Run the tape. I think what I found interesting was that before this whale, before they found the crane to carry the whale, they had brought tractors. So you know what I usually say, like, when there's an emergency, like, of course, everybody comes there with ideas. Wait, carry the leg. Blow water on it so that it swims back into the ocean. The another one is like, wait, let's carry this fin. We lift it. And then another, bro, by the time they came up with the crane, this thing had started weighing, right? Because a whale weighs tons, right? But for a long time, it was alive. Now, I've seen other countries where a whale has landed on the beach. I don't know whether it's a whale. I think it's a shark. And it was pushed back into the water. Anyway, what DRC, they're better than a lot of us. Because I know for a fact, there are some countries, the moment that whale would have arrived on the beach, people wangekuja na masahani. What's that song for Sauti Sol? Mungu ataleta sahani yake. Every person would bring their plate. I've seen elephants die in wilderness, and guys don't even know whether they eat elephant meat, but they are there with a panga. They are ready to cut their piece off. So I was just surprised that the guys in DRC didn't eat this thing. Sijaiona. Because I will never miss the opportunity to remind you the story of what happened in Nigeria. The year was a few years ago. The animal was a blue marlin, one of the most expensive fishes in the world. And here are fishermen. They went into the water. Kidogo, kidogo, they pulled a blue marlin. And there it was. Omo, a blue marlin is a big fish. Okay, not the size of a whale, but it's huge, right? And they're like, Omo, come see this, Charlie. Bring the knife. Oh, and they cut the thing. Kila mtu alipatiwa piece yake. We shikilia, thank you. We baby, ulini save last year. We shikilia uzito. We kwanza usikuja hapa. We kwanza kuna deni yangu. We come. Everybody, they shared that blue marlin. Nice and easy. Only to come find out that blue marlin was worth $6 million. They ate. I'm just saying, blue marlins should show up in DRC because they will take care of it. But in other places, mutakula hiyo kiru. Here's my question. Would you want to taste whale meat? If you were there, would you have eaten the whale? Ama you'd have watched it goes as takataka, ama yoze. We're going to end this episode with a recap of all the weather things that have been happening around the world because I'm kind of tired of talking about the weather. I think we've now just going to be having a feature where we see the weather updates of the week, right? You see some of the crazy weather patterns because if you don't seem to think that something is going on, then you don't watch this show. Because I'm always telling you, clearly something is going on. You know, as we pay attention to each other, to other human beings, yeah, Tinani aliongea, oh, my boyfriend, oh, sijui my husband, sijui, oh, my wife, blah, 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 right? But the sky up there, the world is doing things. Yeah, weather patterns, wow, wow, wow. So we're going to finish with that. But before we get to that, I have a question for you. Would you, if it was your first job, right? And this one is for Gen Zs. Let's imagine there's an internship or a first job. It's your you finished uni and this is your first opportunity to learn in the workforce. Would you take 15,000, Bob? Yeah, this is a conversation that was being had online and I just had to check and bring it here to Boxers. 15,000, Bob. So there's a guy who brought this conversation up and he said, why are Gen Z refusing to take this amount of money? And 15,000, I'm going to give it an orange card. Ding, 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 ding. Okay, why orange, right? Because a few things are happening in the world, right? When I think boomers were in the workforce, right? There was a minimum salary, there was minimal people in the job, you know, but right now you have a lot of people who are entrepreneurs. I'm an entrepreneur. Right? There are some entry-level positions where, and especially if you're working remotely, that 15K as an intern could be something that you could take. I mean, I wouldn't ask you to come to the office every day, but like there would be some roles that you would take that give you that amount of money. Right? But yes, I do understand people who say that, what am I supposed to do with 15,000? Surely, what do I pay? And yes, there'll be people who say there are people who are earning much, much more than that. There are people who are earning 15K in a day. But that's not the reality for everyone. Right? So there has to be an entry level for some people. And this is what I think. I think internships need to be seen in a different way. They are a way to open doors. So if you don't want even, there are some internships, by the way, I know in huge companies in this country, not parastatals, but like big companies that hire thousands of people, that an internship is free. In fact, there's an internship amount that I saw, and me who was running an entrepreneurship with a small unit was paying my interns triple what this company was paying. And I couldn't believe it. I even stopped the HR person. I was asking, how are you giving? And they said, this is the standard market amount. And now I even started asking myself, am I paying interns based off of my heart, Ama? But the reality is that there's not a lot of employers who can afford it, right? If it's a big company that has big returns, and it makes sense, right? But if it's a small company that somebody's just, what you're giving is you're going to learn something in the job market, and in return you'll be participating in some tasks. I think that's a good give and take. Or what do you think? So that's how we're going to end this episode. And as I promised, I'm going to leave you with some weather tips, right? See what's been happening around the world. But remember, this is Run the Tape. Every single Friday, we catch up on those stories that are happening. If there's a story that you think I missed, please hit me up in the comments. And we'll try our best next week to, if it's still relevant, to talk about it. But like I said, as we started this episode, we need you to take part as a boxer on Boxport TV. And all you have to do is follow our channels and share with us those stories that you think should definitely make it onto Run the Tape. But also for Kwambokspod, you have an opportunity to share with us which guests or which topics you think we should get guests to interview and talk about. Until next Furahi Day, I'll leave you with the weather. Kapow!
Tens of thousands are still missing in Venezuela after following two massive earthquakes on Wednesday.